Okay, so today we're going to be showing you a video on how I fix and work on my Prusa Mk4s 3D printer. I started a print in the morning and it failed. It actually didn't even start. I had my first crash detection. It hit the print bed and it wasn't able to print. And what was happening is in this video, you'll see on the right side, that gantry, that orange piece was being pulled down farther than the left side. So here I am taking apart the extruder. I had spent all morning on line with Prusa support as they were walking me through and telling me what was probably wrong with my printer and how to fix it. And so this video is just a recording of me going through and taking things out. I start with the fans. Those are usually the easiest. The Mk4s has a bigger print head fan that was already taken off. And then I am getting the second fan off. And I'm also going to be taking the Nextruder filament head off. So that was the print fan I had just gotten off. And here I am unplugging the wires for my Nextruder nozzle. It's 2 wires, and then the thumb screws you loosen, and the nozzle should pop right out and whatnot. I'm taking that nozzle out right now. There it is. That's the Nextruder nozzle with the diamondback tip. So the next step is going to be releasing 3 screws that keep the heatsink attached. As you can see, as I loosen those 3 screws, the whole extruder wants to come off, which is exactly what you're looking for because you're going to be taking apart the whole section that pops off. It includes the gears to pull the filament in, the heatsink, the filament sensor, and so on. After you get the 3 screws off, there's going to be 1 cable that you have to unplug that's still attached to the love board behind it. So you'll see me doing that there. I'm trying to pull it, wondering why there's resistance, and I'm like, there's a cable. Get the cable unplugged, and boom. There is your whole Nextruder assembly minus all the parts you already took off it. Basically just the gearbox and the heatsink. So the next step is going to be taking that apart and getting into the gearbox, getting the heatsink off, and seeing if there was any debris, filament wrapped around the gears, anything. That's what they told me to look for specifically, actually, was filament, strands of filament that had wrapped themselves in the extruder gears and was causing too much pressure on the sensor. So I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what sockets go where to unscrew it. I think there was only 3 bolts that hold it together. The older Mk4s and S's, I think, had 4, is what the website was saying, but mine was the newer one, so it comes with 3. Trying to adjust the camera here so you can see it. After you get these 3 screws off, it kind of basically falls apart. You can see here I'm unscrewing the thumb screws that would hold the Nextruder nozzle in the extruder. Those pop off, and then I can pop off that front mount for the head fan, for the upgraded Mk4s head fan. And now is when you would be unscrewing those 3 screws on the front of the gearbox to then pop it off. This is the first time I've ever taken it down to the gearbox like this for the extruder. Like I said, I've actually replaced the love board on this, which is behind the extruder, but you don't have to take the whole front off. You can actually just pop the love board out from the back, which is very nice. Prusa has done an unbelievable job at making it incredibly easy to work on. I have made many mistakes and broken many things on this printer, all of which were my fault. And time again, I am able to take this thing apart and swap out the broken parts with literally no issue. 90% of the time, I usually cause more work for myself because I skip instructions, I don't read instructions, or I think it's going to be too complicated, and it is incredibly easy. Okay, so here I am showing you the inside of my gearbox with the gears. As you can see, one of them looks a little gunked up, but no crazy amount of filament or anything. So the next thing you have to do is get the 2 long bolts off that I'm wiggling right there to get it the rest of the way apart. So you'll just unscrew those 2 bolts. They'll have 2 springs on them. Don't lose the springs, and then pop them out. The next step is to get one more bolt that holds on to the filament pusher catcher thing and holds that gold bracket into place. So you're going to unscrew that bolt. The little black piece is going to want to fall out a little bit, and then you should just easily be able to pop that gold / bronze, whatever, metal plate right off. Here you're going to see me fiddle around for a little bit because I'm not exactly sure what's holding it together at this point. And spoiler alert, there's nothing holding it together. It's just friction held on, so you have to pull it apart and whatnot. So you'll see me fiddle with it for a little bit, and then eventually I just decide to try and pull it apart, and I successfully do, knocking some things over in the process, but nonetheless still getting it apart. And once you pull it apart, it's apart. You can get all your individual pieces out, the heatsink and whatnot, and you can see what was damaged, if there was anything damaged at all. So obviously I get the heatsink off, and I pull it apart. I pull the gears out, and not very much filament falls out at all. A tiny piece, maybe the size of a very small pea, came out, and that was it right there. I just drop it. It's a very small piece. But as I'm looking at all this and inspecting it and wondering what could have possibly caused the damage, I do notice on the heatsink that some of the silicone has been worn away or stripped away, and the wires are exposed, and one of them looks like it's pulled and bent. So it's clearly defective heatsink is the issue. That's not too bad. I got it apart already, so I'm just going to leave it apart and order a new heatsink, which I already did, and it's on the way. So I'll have to take out the filament sensor that's in the heatsink and then put that in the new heatsink, I'm pretty sure. But other than that, it's the same process of putting it together as it is disassembling. But I will make a second video about that once I get the part to come in. It's honestly pretty simple. This process wasn't anything crazy or hard. It didn't take me super long and whatnot. And I'm going to go through and clean everything, and I'll probably do that and video it and record it for the putting it back together. But I'm going to clean everything, re-grease it, recalibrate it, get that stuff replaced, and go from there and get her back up and printing. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.